based on the stuff that we have experienced yesterday while we were watching the other live streamers, you're probably predicting the path of this video. Well, what is the point of beating a dead horse? I can brag about terrible netcode and desync and lag and terrible optimization and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna do that, because I can actually see the potential in this game. And if you're thinking that I'm a sellout or something like that, you're a moron, okay? Go check my previous video, because I probably made a tombstone above my YouTube channel between Vostok developers and myself. But even if Vostok developers hate my guts, there is no reason not to create this video, because I'm trying to act as much as professional as possible, and I wanna give you my honest opinion about the stuff that I see, feel, and the experience. Dear Skr Army, dear plebs that are still not subscribed on this channel, those are my first impressions about Fear the Wolves. And I'm really hoping that I'm gonna open your eyes so you can see the potential in this game. Let's talk about the map first. There are 28 towns on the map, but if you're watching the map you can also see small circles, and those small circles are also indicators that there are some kind of houses over there, which means that the map is flooded with points of interest where you can loot. Although you will actually need to learn the locations where the good gear is spawning, because in Fear the Wolves it is actually really hard to find end weapons and ammo, but we're gonna talk about that later. In the closed beta build, the player cap per match is 70, not 100, and they probably reduced the cap because of a bad optimization. And there is not that many people that are playing closed beta, and that also might be a reason. They reduced it so it is easier to find a match. Forbidden Zone in Fear the Wolves is presented into grids, not circle, and it is shrinking with grid elimination like we have seen in the Radical Heights. And the another thing that you need to know about those grids is there are 3 different red zones. There is the orange striped zone, that is the Anomaly Zone, a red striped zone with a lower amount of radiation, and there is a full red zone, and that is a radiation zone, but with a high radiation status. And I want to talk a little bit more about those forbidden zones. That full red zone, that high radiation zone is like GTFO. You should never ever stay inside of that full red zone because you're gonna die. But those striped zones, red striped zone and orange striped zone, those zones are also dangerous, but not so much, because if you have a right equipment on yourself, you're gonna survive those zones. Right now, in the closed beta build, there are oxygen tanks, and if you have that oxygen tank, you can stay in the radioactive zones, aka red zones, and your tank with the oxygen is gonna deplete. When the oxygen tank reaches 0, radiation is gonna hit your HP. And it is gonna hit your HP like we have seen in the Fallout 4. Radiation debuff is gonna start from the right to left, and it is gonna eat you until you reach 0 HP. Which means, if you have 25% of the radiation on your body, you cannot heal on 100%. Your maximum HP is gonna be 75%. And there are also orange striped zones that are gonna indicate you that that is the Anomaly Zone. And I'm assuming that they're gonna add some kind of a containers like we have seen in the Solarium, so you can loot the artifacts that anomalies are creating, and in the future you're gonna probably have some kind of a passive or active effects. Right now, while I'm creating this video, I have never seen the artifact, so I'm assuming it is not in their current build. So basically, Anomaly Zone is stage 1, red striped zone is a radioactive zone and that is stage 2, and then full red zone is a dead zone and that is stage 3. You also have a random weather effects that are gonna greatly change your playstyle, and it is not just if there is a fog you're gonna have harder times to snipe. No. When a certain weather effect happens, you're gonna literally get debuffs on your character. And from my understanding, spectators can vote which type of weather condition is gonna happen next. I'm also hoping that they're gonna add the Twitch extension so even viewers can have a great influence on the weather control in a match. Same thing like the Raven Project have done with their Battle Royale. If you manage to survive final grids, you're gonna get the notification that helicopter is coming to rescue. Once you get the notification where the extraction location is, helicopter is gonna drop the rope and you can extract in any time. But you're gonna need to be extra careful because you will actually need to climb that rope to extract, which means you're vulnerable to the other enemy players on the map. And the another way how to win Battle Royale is to be last man standing. Once you kill last player, you don't even need to extract, you're gonna automatically win the match. The another very important thing that I wanna point out about the extractions is that helicopter is gonna create a lot of noise and there are gonna be red smoke flares on the map, which means it is gonna be really hard to see or hear enemy players in the final grid. Now let's talk about weapons, armor, items and the UI. On a first glance, UI seems sloppy, but it is actually not. It is simple and really easy to understand. Every single lootable item that is on a map has its own statistics and you can check the statistics when you open the inventory. All of the details about weapons, armor and consumables are really well written and that type of details fits perfectly in a Battle Royale. You can clearly understand which weapon is better than the other one or which consumable is gonna give you or remove certain buffs and debuffs. And speaking about buffs and debuffs, you can see them above your player's HP. That is on the bottom of your screen. And if you're confused, you can open your inventory and hover with the mouse over the buff or a debuff. It is gonna tell you what individual status effect is actually doing to you. And now back to the topic about armors. In the current build, they added two different types of the armor sets. One set of the armor is focused around armor and the another one is hazmat suit that is focused around radiation protection. And each of those sets has 3 different tiers, which means the higher tier is on the armor, more stats it is gonna give. And speaking about the weapons, there are a few things that I wanna point out. If you guys already didn't know, there are wolves in a game. The game is called Fear the Wolves, of course there are gonna be wolves in the game. And to kill wolves, the most efficient way that I have found are suppressed pistols. And I also try to land headshots on wolves because it is not that hard to miss and you're gonna save a lot of bullets. On a day 1 of closed beta, most of the players are saying that shotgun is the most overpowered weapon, but I don't think that's the case. The reason why shotgun is the most overpowered weapon right now is because of a bad optimization and a desync. So keep that in mind. If you're experiencing bad server stability, I would recommend to you that shotgun is your go-to weapon. And about weapon modifications, they simplified the way how to mount modifications on the weapons. For example, you do not need to have right adapters for the muzzles or you do not need to have mount rails for the scopes. You simply hold the modification and if the slot in your inventory is lighter, that means you can equip that modification on the specific weapon. And also keep in mind that right now there are weapons with a maximum of 3 attachments, which means fully modified weapon is going to have muzzle, scope and improved magazine. And also I wanna point out, when you're standing closer to the wall, your character is gonna automatically pull the weapon close to his body, and for me personally that is the best way how to handle weapon clipping to the wall, and it really feels that those developers are actually trying to build a really good game. And speaking about the details, in the gameplay trailer we have seen that there is a lean mechanic, and also while you're sprinting and crouching your character is gonna slide. But right now they disabled those 2 mechanics, probably to reduce desync and bad optimization on a day 1. And also you should probably know that there is no prone mechanic in the game, and to be honest, I'm glad that they haven't added prone in the game because prone mechanic is endorsing camping habits. And speaking about camping, it seems like if you're staying on the same location a little bit longer, wolves are gonna spawn and you will have to kill them, and if you're not using suppressors, your cover is gonna probably be blown up. I still do not know efficient range of the gun's sound in a game, but we're gonna stay in touch. But you see, wolves are not just spawning on you if you're standing on the same place for a longer period of time. I have also seen that wolf packs are randomly spawning on the open areas, and also if you're creating a lot of noise, there is a big chance that wolves are gonna also join in that PvP. If you haven't tried the game out and you are watching other streamers playing it on Twitch or on the YouTube, I also need to inform you that the graphics look much better. The reason why game does not look so attracting is because of the way how encoders are encoding the foliage in the game. So don't worry about the graphics too much. They are just fine. If Vostok developers manage to fix dissing and the netcode, I have a strong feeling that this game is gonna eat PUBG alive. On the gameplay trailer, I was skeptical about this game because I was really thinking that it is just one of those cash and grab games. But seeing so many in-depth mechanics that they already implemented in a game, I think that Vostok games are trying to build something unique and great. And that said, you can definitely expect more content from me and on my live stream on Twitch and on the YouTube videos. I'm going all in, guys. I think I finally found a game where I can be passionate again. Tell me your guys' thoughts, like if you like, dislike. If you didn't like what you saw, it is gonna help me in both ways. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one. Eroktic out.